Hi everybody, Rob here from the Oyster House Boys, and this is just going to be a quick one looking at ALM Busy Circuits System Coupe, which is a fantastic little system which does an awful lot. I'm not going to go into much depth in this video. I'll just give you a quick overview of what it is and maybe do a couple of patches, or one patch which includes a couple of the modules. So let's have a look at what we've got in the system. It's a really nice, I think it's aluminium enclosure, and we start off over here with power built in, by the way. Start off with the MIDI, which is your MIDI converter. It comes with one of those little jack to DIN cable kind of adapters, which is absolutely fine. Next to that we have the MMT, which is a way of taking that MIDI data and kind of quantizing it into the different notes. So this takes outputs, which you could feed into various places. Then we've got Pam's new workout, which you probably don't need an introduction to. Everybody knows Pam loves it. It's one of the most popular modules on the market, I think. This is the new one, so it's a little bit updated. So if you haven't seen this one before, then it's worth checking out. We'll talk about that a little bit. I won't go into that much depth, but I'll just give you a quick rundown over how it works and how you can use it to do some cool stuff. Then we've got Quaid Megaslope, and this is, how can you look at this? This can be an envelope generator, it could be a step sequencer, and all sorts of things in between. And I'll use that in a patch in a minute and show you how I use it to create the kind of pitch information for the MCO. We've got a mult here, which is just one of those really useful utilities that everybody needs in your system. Squid Sample, which is, I think, the best sample module on the market. I absolutely adore it. I hadn't used it before I got this system in the studio, and I've fallen in love with it, and I think this is going to be in my rig permanently from now on, and you'll probably see why in a second. We've got the Milton, and the Milton you may not have heard of before, because I think as it stands this is only available in the System Coupe, but it's a utility module and it's a good one. It does all sorts of things. It's got a tenuverter, a mixer, and it's just one of those kind of useful things that lets you just kind of manage your patches. Then we've got the MCO, which is an oscillator with a number of wavetables that you can access using this knob here. And then you've got outputs for sub, pulse, and just kind of combined out. Obviously you can control things like pulse width modulation from another source, so you've got the inputs for that here, type, and the wave type as well, so you could modulate the wave type and get some really cool stuff going on. Okay, then we've got the MCF, which is perfectly paired with the MCO, and it's a filter with resonance, and again we have outputs for high, notch, and bandpass, and low, which is quite cool. What I like about this is you can use all of those together if you wanted to, so you could route them either into different channels here, or you could do various things with them, but I would suggest that you could use them and mix them, or you could use the mixer here. In fact, you could take the three outputs, put them into the mixer, and then put the output of that mixer, which gives you, 3 ins. So you've got 3 outputs from the MCF, you could put them into the 3 ins of Milton, and then into one channel of the Quartet, which is VCA. Interestingly, this VCA has separate outputs for each channel as well as a mix, which I don't think I've seen before. I traditionally have been using Veils. Oh no, the Veils does do that. Ignore me, I'm talking rubbish. Okay, so then we've got this, which I've already got patched into this HPO, which is a headphone out. I've actually got the output of this running into a Arturia Audio Fuse 8 Pre, which is my rack mounted audio interface. Okay, so what more can I say about this particular unit? I think the colorway is a new one. I don't think these colors have been seen elsewhere from ALM. It looks really cool. I really like it. It's kind of bright and fun and colorful, and it's a nice break from the traditional black and silver you see everywhere else. Okay, so let's get patching. Let's start. I'm not going to do anything MIDI, so we'll ignore these two for now, and I probably won't need to use the mult, maybe not the Milton either, so ignore those for now. and let's get some cables. So I'm going to start by, I'm just going to take output from PAM and I'm going to put it into the trigger of the Megaslope so I can show you what that does first of all. Let's just use channel 8 for this. Let's just twist this knob here and it tells you what channel 8 is doing. So this is 2 times our BPM. And if you want to know what the BPM is 115 for this. Let's increase that. Actually, let's not. Let's go to channel 8 and put that back to 1 times. So this is now running at 115 and you can see the LED is flashing to show you what's going on. Just say yes to that. I'm going to press this button to make sure I'm in step mode. So this can either be a kind of a complex envelope generator looper, which is just continually running through, or a step sequencer. I'm going to take my plus minus output. There's also just a plus, and I'm going to put that into the volts per octave of MCO. I'll just leave that centered for now, roughly. Let's just grab a couple more of these cables. I'm a big fan of using coloured cables. As you can see, I've got some on the table, but for this video, I'm using just black because hopefully that helps you see the actual modules themselves a little bit more easily. So I'm going to take output from the MCO into the in of the MCF, which I'll just open up, and then I'll just take the low pass from MCF and I'll put it into channel 2 of quartet. Okay, so you can see what we've got going on here. Let's just stop that a second. This is, because I've got this set to step, this is basically going through the different steps. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps, and these sliders are used for setting the pitch. And then we've got kind of the slope control and a time control, so we can have one note playing longer than another by using the rotary controls here for that. So let's just have a quick play with that. Okay. I'm just going to speed this up actually. Okay, so I'm reasonably happy with that as just a starting point. I can change the overall frequency with the MCO. Now I'm just going to take this output and put it into pulse. Just so you can hear the PWM in action. Now, as I'm changing this wave control here, the rotary controller here, hopefully you can hear that I'm kind of just passing through a number of different wave shapes. So I'll just turn that back up and do that again. I'll do that from the main output. That's a really cool noise. I've got the resonance set quite high. I'll turn it right off. Now obviously you could use controls, whatever you want to use. You could probably use Quaid for this, for changing this, or you could use an LFO of your choice, or you could use a MIDI control if you're using a MIDI controller. So let's just turn that down for a second and let's add in some drums, because I wanted to just give you a quick look at Squid Sample, which isn't, it's not restricted just to doing drums. It can sample incoming audio and CV, which is quite cool. I won't talk about that now, it's a little bit more in depth, but what I will show you is just how to use this as a drum machine using PAM and the Squid Sample. So let's take output 1, let's just see what that's set to at the moment. That's at 1 times 1.3, so I'm just set that 1, so I'm just getting a solid, this is kind of like your 4 to the floor, so I'm going to put that into channel 1's trigger. I should probably give this an output of some kind, this one reach. So I'm just going to use the mix out. You have paired outputs here, which is really useful. Just pop that in there. Just check the levels a second. Okay, that's cool. Right, so what we've got going on here is it's loading samples from this USB key into onboard RAM. And you can see I've got bank 18 here, and you can see here it says, hopefully you can see in the video, it says Lindrum. If I wanted to change that, I could go to USB, let's just stop it a second, and then I could choose a different bank. And you can see there's a little note underneath the number that gives you an idea of what might be in there. It does ship with a PDF on this key, which tells you, it gives you a really good breakdown with notes and all sorts of things. And you just press load, you can see the progress bar and it's loaded. If I start that again, here we go, back to this. So let's go. You can see I've already got this set. So number 2, output 2 is set to divide by 2. So this will give me a snare if I use the second channel and every other bass drum kit. Okay, let's do something similar. You see I've got 3 is set to 4 times 4. Let's put that into number 3, which I think is the hi-hat. And then that leaves me with a couple of others. I'm going to take channel 4, plug that into okay, that's cool. Let's take number 5, I'm going to put that into 7. That's too frequent, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to scroll channel 7, and I'm going to divide this by 8. Did I take the right one? No, I didn't. So that's that one. Okay. So I can reintroduce my just turn the resonance up a little bit there. Okay, so hopefully you've seen, I've really barely touched anything here. You can very easily change the quality settings, all sorts of things going in. You can use this display here to sample what you're working on. So you might have a really cool little bass line you're working on. You can trim the start points really easily so that it starts bang on cue, and you could use PAM to then launch that. It's fantastic. I really love it, and I'm going to do a few more videos on this system, I think, to kind of look at it in a bit more depth. But I wanted to give you just a quick overview. So firstly, and most importantly, it's easy to use. You just saw it took less than a minute probably to set up what is quite a cool starting patch, and that could be the start of a track. Secondly, and equally important probably, is the sound quality. I always say that the user experience is more important than the sound quality. doesn't matter how good something sounds, if you can't get the sounds out of it, there's no point having it. And you won't enjoy your time spent with the system. But I have to say that this System Coupe is incredibly fun to use. I think that the aesthetics of it really help that as well. So it looks cool. It's easy to use, as you saw. Pam does a fantastic job. Quaid is awesome. Squid Sample is incredible. The MCO and MCF are a great pair. They work together really, really well. I'll talk about them as a pair more, just as a voice, and maybe I'll just link up a MIDI keyboard and play it more as an instrument than a modular system. And it's got all the little bits and pieces you need. So it's got MIDI converter, it's got a mult, it's got a mixer and the tenuverter and everything. It's just got everything you need. So I think, as I record this video, I think the cost of this is about £1,800. I might be slightly out, but it's in that region, so it's pretty comparable to anything else that you could do with that kind of money. In fact, I think because of the combo of Quaid and Squid, I think actually you get really good bang for your buck with this, because they are so versatile. And obviously Pam is just, well, it's Pam. It does everything you want it to. So I hope that's been of some interest. I'll just play out with a little bit more of this going, and leave a comment please. Let me know what you think. If you want more detail, or if this has been enough to just introduce you to it, then let me know too. And tell me if there are any other systems you want me to look at, or any individual modules, and I'll get on it. So thanks very much. I've been Rob. Bye bye.